Hello, everyone. Nice to see you. Thanks for waving, those of you, Michael, Mickey, or the people who are waving. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Nice to be here. Cold here where I am. I mean, cold for Northern California. So, life is good. Winter morning. I chose a line from Yuan Wu. Actually, it's the Enlightenment poem of the great master Yuan Wu. And it has a bunch of things. The country, uh, he comes home drunk singing country songs. Only the young beauty knows about her love affair. So he's what can I say? He's in some way trying to express the freedom he feels, but also there's a kind of secret quality in waking up. It's kind of nice, and I wanted to talk mainly about that secret quality a bit today. So yeah, only the young beauty knows about her secret love affair. There's a sort of mysterious, underground, hidden quality about the path that I think he's talking about there. It's like a secret love affair. It's not so much secret because you want to hide it, although maybe you do, but it's more like it can't be explained, it can't be expressed. You can't describe it very well. And it's full of mysterious coincidences and things like that. When I knew I wanted something, but I didn't know what. I don't know if I even knew I wanted something. I was waiting for life to snatch me. And I was working as a proofreader and in a place called Brisbane for a very nice, actually really interesting publishing company. And but it was a lowly job, and they could tell I didn't know what I was doing, so they didn't want to give me a higher job. And I ran into one of the editors on the street, who's somebody I knew very slightly. I'd met once or something, and we just I don't know why, we started to talk. And I said, "Oh, what are you up to?" And she said, "Well, some Tibetans are coming to town, and they were coming to some retreat center just outside of Brisbane, and I didn't I didn't know anything about them. I didn't know anything about Tibetan Buddhism. Didn't know anything about Buddhism. I knew a little bit about the Tao Te Ching, and was sort of that's what I knew, and 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 so but immediately I was interested, and I said, "Oh, how do I get hold of them?" And she was great, and she immediately got that it was a more than casual interest, and she said, "You can go, but you won't come back," which turned out to be true, and so I didn't. I didn't go to. I end up, coming to study Zen, but it was the Dharma very much. And those kind of coincidences, either coincidences or those, one is led by, in the true life, one is led by things without quite understanding. They don't always emerge out of the unconscious. They're unconscious, but they're nonetheless very true. And so that's what I've been thinking about. And I wanted to tell you, somebody who seems some of the old teachers really had this kind of thing going on in spades. Like the sixth ancestor Herd was carrying wood. He was supporting his mother and himself by going out in the forest and collecting wood and selling it. And he heard someone chanting the Diamond Sutra. The line that touched him was, abiding nowhere, the heart-mind comes forth. And he had this immense sort of opening and waking up. And he said, where'd you learn that? What is that? And he said, well, far away, hundreds of miles up north, there's a temple where they teach this stuff. And he said, okay. And so he went there. Well, he arranged for relatives to take in his mom and feed her, and then he set off. So Yuan Wu was interesting. He was a much later teacher, and he had this. He was a very bright person, brilliant person, and everybody said he was brilliant. In spite of which he was brilliant, and he was. And he went to. Somebody took him to a Zen temple one day, a Chan temple in China, and he said. And he felt. Everything felt really familiar. He felt like he'd been to this temple before, and he'd owned some of the things in the temple. He'd been in charge of some of the things, and so he felt like I must have been here in a previous life. Previously was the way he put it. And so then he went to study Zen and Chan, and then he went to, he went various places, but the main person he went to was a well-known teacher called Wu Zu, and he'd had some sort of realization, and he told Wu Zu about the realization. Wu Zu just shook his head and said, "That's not it." And Yuan Wu was really offended, as one can get. Being offended in the Dharma is an interesting thing. It's not always easy to tell why we're offended, but people get very touchy in the Dharma like that. And so somebody was offended, and so he was offended, and he said, "You don't recognize what I understand?" And so he just stormed off. and his teacher said, "Remember me when you are sick with fever." It's a little poem just by itself. Remember me when you are sick with fever. It's a kind of secret love affair appearing. And then he went away and immediately, of course, got really sick. and then he came back, and when he walked in, his teacher, Wu Su, saw him and just laughed and said, "Come on up here," and made him his attendant, because somehow he'd passed some test by coming back. And there's something, some things touch us, like, going into the temple touched Yuan Wu, and things like that touch me in that way. The sound of a temple bell does that for me. When I first came to a temple, I was ringing, you have those big bells, the Densho bell. We have one, but it's not hung at the moment. And I just like to ring it, and I felt like it. I was completely at home in that sound. I became that sound. It was inside me. So some things are like that, and they're sort of signals of the deeper life. Sound of rain is like that for me. I grew up with a lot of rain. but I don't know. I don't think that's why. It does that for me. The sound of rain is something I've always wanted to write, the perfect poem or perfect something that talked about the sound of rain and how it's inside you and you are it, and so on. Sometimes a bird call will do that too. Remember me when you were sick with fever. I suppose it's also about mortality, that, we're all going to die. And that also that mortality is a kind of hint or a clue or a gateway. A gateway. Mortality is a kind of secret love affair too. An official retired and came to study with Wuzu. And because he thought, I might, I'm getting old, better get some Zen in while I can. And so, and the teacher said, when you were young, did you hear a poem or a song which went something like, she calls to her maid, little Jade. She calls to her serving girl, little Jade. Not because she wants something, but just so her lover will hear her voice. And the official said, yes, I read it. And Wuzu said, that's very close to Zen. And just then, Yuan Wu arrived, and he said, I heard the master mention the poem. Does the official know it or not? And Wuzu said, he just knows the words. He only knows the words. And Yuan Wu said, just so her lover will hear her voice. If he knows the words, why doesn't he understand it? These were, Yuan Wu was suddenly, Wuzu replied, why did Bodhidharma come from the West? Shouted at him. The cypress tree in the garden. With these words, Yuan Wu suddenly was greatly enlightened. He went outside the cottage and saw a rooster fly to the top of a railing, beat his wings and crow loudly. He said to himself, isn't this the sound? In gratitude, Yuan Wu took incense back to Wuzu's room. He told of his discovery and offered this verse. The golden duck vanishes into the golden brocade. With a country song, the man who's drunk comes home from the woods. Only the young beauty knows the secret of her love affair. Then Wuzu said, I share your joy. Only the young beauty knows the secret of her love affair. I feel that Yuan Wu is somehow everybody who's a Koan person in the United States is descended from Yuan Wu in some way, but I feel he has a special affinity with us because he was very interested in poetry and music, and he was very improvisational. And so, just to say that, I feel close to Yuan Wu. And I said one of my friends asked me, "Who do you feel among?" And I said that, and she said, "Of course, that's you." And I said, "Well, do you like him?" And she said, "God, no." It was great. So everybody's got their own ancestors. Just, Yuan Wu. I think Yuan Wu is ours, actually. And I like the way he had that feeling of, you know, ah, following secret clues. Like he went into a temple and he thought, I've been here before, things like that. And I think those things are really, they're just part of the Zen practice. You know, you notice things like that. Tess, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Play was the word that kept coming to mind when you were talking today. Um, and how it's so often something only for itself. I mean, everything that runs through that koan and runs through Zen is, why call for your lover or why do anything at all, actually, but, for the sake of itself, for the sake of having it or being it or tasting it or doing it or that kind of thing. And it seems like everybody's always trying to have theories about what good play is, that it teaches vital skills or it's socialization or it's, but anything always reduces it. And play is just absolutely completely for itself in that very enlivening way. And I guess I got thinking about that because I thought, well, what's my secret love affair? What's the thing that I know in my heart in some way? And I've mentioned, I'm sure, my new little cat, who sometimes is called a barbarian and other times is called a woozle, like heffalumps and woozles and Winnie the Pooh. And I've never had a cat that's treated me as another cat for play, meaning that she's taught me how to pounce and hide. And, cats really like it when you see something and then you don't, and you go around that. And so I feel like I've been learning completely for the sake of itself. Why do we do this? Well, because it's incredibly fun and alive. And I've been learning this language of play. And somehow, when I'm in it, there's nothing else, which seems to be part of what the nature of this koan is too, that you're just completely full inside something and letting it have you. And why are you doing it? Because it's in your heart. So I think that's it.
Very good. Cats and Zen often go together. A lot. I personally am more of a dog person, but but they do. And the very first Zen journal in America was called Cat's Yawn. So, there you go. Marie, no pressure, but would you like to talk? Like to say anything? Nice to see you.
Hello, John. Hello, everyone. I'm so glad you mentioned dogs, John, because what I've been sitting here with the window open. It was freezing in New York for weeks, and then there was a hard rain yesterday, and now it's warm. It's like 40 degrees, and everyone, it feels like spring outside, and you can hear all the voices of people walking by, and children, and dogs, and a crow, and it strikes me that the whole world is a bell. The world is a bell and it keeps ringing and it's so beautiful. But to celebrate dogs and all sentient beings, my dog Jack likes to spend much of his days in the hallway of our apartment building, sort of guarding. But when you rang the bell, and this happens every time I sit here with you all, when you ring the bell the first time, Jack suddenly is barking at the door. He has to come in. And then he takes his place sort of on the other side of the door. But then when Jordan began to play, the first stroke of his guitar, Jack is in the doorway of this room shaking like, what is it? And I just made me smile. I just thought, I know what you mean. He just, he woke up to both those sounds and he's great company. But the world, it just strikes me that sometimes that like your man says, like these clues are in plain sight. These secrets are in plain sight, and if we open our eyes, we hear them or we see them. And I'm just grateful to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Marie. Uh, I'm going to take a risk here. I'm going to ask Brooke Wilding, do you want to say anything?
That is a risk.
Yeah, for me as well as you.
Gosh, I'm so deeply here today, and I'm preparing to take my vows, which is so sweet, and such a surprise for me. I've been busy trying to run away from this for a long time, and suddenly it came and got me, and right to my heart, and I and thank you so much, John, and everybody. I love this practice. I love this Sangha. And I just am falling deeper and deeper in love with it. So that's it. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, Brooke. I'll call on you more often. This is kind of funny. Marion, do you want to say anything? And this is kind of a random selection of who pops up. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say this idea of the mystery and the undercurrent and being in it. I'm doing a quilt project with another Sangha member where we do a piece. I'll do something, and then I mail it to her, and then she does something, and then she mails it back, and we're just going back and forth with this project. And this time she mailed it to me, and I had no idea what to do. And today, before coming here, I kind of just sat with it, and I could begin to feel some kind of connection and undercurrent with just going into it and seeing what came up. And I realized that kind of feeling of I'm just in it. And thank you. That's about it. It's bringing me just into it. And I love that kind of, there's nothing else at the moment.
Your secret love affair is a quilt.
My secret love affair.
It's a
Thank you, John.
great practice. Thank you. Carlo, did you want to say anything? I think you're probably in the UK.
Thank you, John. I am. It's lovely to see you all. Yeah, only the young beauty knows about her love affair. That's very resonant for me today because my mother is 87 and her health is failing. And I've spent a lot of time with her recently, and in many ways it's been the best times we've ever had. She's been on her own since my father died nearly 20 years ago. And I can't stop thinking about her in the context of that because he was an Italian immigrant. He was 11 years older. He came over after the war. And yeah, I saw her today, despite the paradox being so great, as that young beauty, who only knew about her love affair with my dad. And for some reason, I can't get that out of my head. So thank you for the koan.
Thank you. That's really touching. Yeah, there's people from different worlds and jumping into life together. Wow. Thank you, Carlo. There's strange rhythms in things. For me, there's a rhythm in watching Jordan's workshop because he just plays in his workshop. His workshop is the meditation hall for Jordan, so it's sort of nice. and the New York Times has a article on Mario Morales, who's a great violin and cello maker, who's got a work. I don't know what his workshop looks like, but like Jordan, he gets wood that's 100 or 150 years old, and he travels all over to get it. And he listens to the wood. He says he strums his fingernail across it, and it drives the wood dealers mad. Are you going to buy it or not? You know, but I can imagine Jordan doing that. So it's kind of fun. And his workshop was caught up in the fires in Los Angeles. You know, the Altadena fires, and the Palisades fires. But he got a couple of things out. He had just almost finished a violin for Dudamel, the great conductor, and he got that one out. So, but he lost a lot of his wood. But then people gave him wood, and he got more and things like that. So it's a great story if you look at if you can find your way into the New York Times archive. Morales. Yeah, one thing leads to another. I would like to see if Denise Fujiwara is on. And hi, Denise. Anything you want to say to us? Again, no pressure.
Oh my gosh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, when we're in a state of not knowing, in a way, everything is secret and everything's a revelation. And I connected with the secret part of the koan and also the love part. When when you have the revelation of love or when you feel love, it pierces through the not knowing, and it makes me realize I exist. And that's all.
Thank you, Denise. Denise is a choreographer and dancer, and sometimes gives us meditation dance lessons at session. So nice to have you. Nice to see you.